You can also use something called, can you go for mute please? If you have any questions, then you can unmute. Yeah, thank you. So if you want to apply the color, you can also use dollar. So what is that? Button. So it's a jQuery related one. $.button. Then you can apply the styles. We'll see that one in tomorrow's class. So therefore, for time being, you can remember that you can apply the styles in 3 ways. First one is using the ID, using the class, using the button directly. But so the third way, last way, using the button directly, that can help only when you have a single button. See, here I am not using any ID, I am not using any class. So if I say button, if I have more than one button, which button it will apply? Difficult. So that way, in your programming, if there is more than one button, then this third procedure will not work. It will work, but it does not make sense. So that's why generally people will go for ID or class. When to go for ID, when to go for class, we already discussed. If you think that, okay, in your program or in your page, there will be only one button, you can go for this. But better go with the ID. Because whenever you create UI elements, UI components, right? So there will be a unique ID created. So it is better to use the ID, that's the best one. Okay, fine. Now come back. So this is how also you can apply the styles. So from the XML views, you can apply the styles. If you want to apply the styles from the XML view, then you can do this one. Then you can do this one. That's it. Now next thing. What is the next thing available? Okay. So we have see the life cycle phase. Now whatever we have written till now, we are trying to discuss. So we are trying to instantiate the view. Once you instantiate the view, it will come here. Then we understood the namespace. Then inside that you will be having what? Content area or whatever it may be. So inside that you will be having UI code. And for that UI code or for that UI, how to apply the styles also we have seen. The next thing is that handling the events. That means, let's say I have a button here. Let's say I have a button here. Button, I'm just writing high level code. It's not correct code, okay? Button ID. So now I created a button here, UI element. I know how to apply the styles also. Now the next thing is what? Once you click on the button, what to do? That means you need to fire the events. You need to fire the events. That events code you will be writing in the controller. That also we have seen already. Once on press, here we came here and we have written a function, something, or do something colon, okay, function. Then it is going to take the object whatever handle, event. Then we said alert something. Like this we have written many functions. I'm just giving an example. This kind of do something, when did we use? Anyone? I use do something in only one example. When did we use this one? Can you able to recollect? Do something, I use it in one place. When did we use? Anyway, it's a custom name, so you can use whatever you want, but in my explanation I use it one time. When did we use? Guys there? So when we were trying to discuss all the models, if you look at my code, yeah, if you look at here we used. So let me open any controller. See, do something. So that means when we discuss all the controllers, right, or all the views, XML view, JSON view, the initial program, whatever I did, so that time we use this one. Okay, after I don't think so after that we use anything and that do something. So that's fine. So therefore now coming to the conclusion, if you want to handle the events, what you do? So you write the function here itself, function name, the function implementation, that means a press is equal to something. So in the mobile programming, what is the event? See, this is the desktop programming. In the desktop programming you have press. In the mobile programming, what do we have the event? In the mobile programming, what is the event? Guys, you there? Supreet, Sunil, Srikanth, Banu. Okay, fine. There is an attached press. Okay, so that's the event. Fine. So that's what it is discussed here. Okay, so that is what it discussed here. So XML event, if you want to press something, you can press something, then that will be handled in the controller. That's fine. So in the controller, you can write whatever you want. Next thing is that, so that's what overall life cycle is. So if you see from the index.html to XML view, from XML view to controller. So again, controller, there are 4 types of default methods. We already seen: on init, on before rendering, on after rendering, on exit. Okay, we already wrote the notes for that, so I don't need to spend the time again. Next, something is view cloning. What is the cloning? Anyone? What is the meaning of cloning? What is the meaning of cloning? First thing is that assume that first understand what is the cloning, then view cloning, controller cloning. Okay, copy. So now let me tell you, let's say, okay, so I have a class called class Chenna. Okay, so I have something. Now let's understand. Now I am creating an object or okay, object O1 is equal to new Chenna. So this is what? Object 1. Now I am saying object O2, I take null. Okay, now I am writing O2 is equal to O1. O2 is equal to O1. So you said what? Cloning is nothing but a copy. So now O2 is copy of O1. Yes or no? O2 is copy of O1. Yes or no? So make some noise, please. Otherwise, I don't know whether you are able to understand or not. Class ABC. This is the concept available in most of the programming languages. Okay, class ABC, and there is some code here. Now I am creating object 1, comma object 2, or object 1 is equal to new class 1, new ABC. Okay, now I am saying object O2 is equal to null. Now O2 is equal to O1. So if you look at here, as per the previous thing, he is saying the copy. So here also what I am doing, I am copying whatever O1 into O2. Now can I say this is a cloning? Can I say this is a cloning? Hello, mic testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Please answer something. Okay, so today you are sleeping or what?
No.
This is not cloning. Okay, this is not cloning. So here also we are getting the copy of what we are trying to do here. Here we are getting, or here O2 is the copy of O1. O2 is a copy of O1. Then what is a cloning? Here also I am having the copy, right? Here also I am able to achieve the copy. Then what is the cloning? What is the difference between this method and cloning? What is the difference between this way and the clone? Anyone? See, here also I am getting the copy of O1. That's nothing but O2. Now I am saying clone is also, but this is not the clone. If this is not the clone, and if you say clone is nothing but generating the duplicate copy, then what is the clone then? Anyone? Anyone, please quickly make noise. Hello. What happened? You guys are there? So what is the cloning then? Okay, fine. So let me tell you the difference. This is if in a copy, yeah, Supreet attended Salesforce, that's why he is not able to, he is able to answer. That's correct, right, Supreet? Okay, fine. That's great, at least you are remembering the concepts. See, that's what I am trying to say, concept never dies. This cloning is not specific to any UI5. It's there in all the places. It's there in Java, .NET, SAP, ABAP, whatever may be. iPhone, all the places is there. Fine. Now I have Y. If you look at here, please try to understand. What are we trying to do here? In the previous explanation, what I am trying to do, whatever available in the object 1, I am trying to make it to object. So XXX. What is XXX here? It is having some properties, it is having some methods. What is the property? 20, 30. Now I am making a duplicate copy by assigning XXX to YYY. So therefore, now YYY also will have X is equal to 20, Y is equal to 30. Now, if you do this way, that means you are assigning XXX to YYY. Now YYY is also have 20, 30, but the problem is if you modify, now X is equal to 20 will be there, Y is equal to 30 will be there. Now the problem here is that this is also copy. The problem is if you modify YYY as 40, YYY as 40, if you modify YYY as 40, then your XXX also will be updated. This is also will be 40. This is also going to be 40. That means what? If you modify one object, it is affecting another object. Let's say now you modify this one as, let's say, 18. Then obviously this is also going to be modified. Obviously this is also going to be modified. 18. So that means what? What is happening in this case? You are able to get a duplicate copy. Yes, that's correct. But are these copies are individual? No, it's not individual. If you modify one object, other object is affected. If you modify other object is affected. So let's take this example. We have NTR or we have Rasecurity or whatever it may be. Now you are trying to duplicate the Rasecurity. So you are trying to duplicate the Rasecurity means what? If anything is happened to Rasecurity, there is another Rasecurity. If anything is happened to NTR, then there is another NTR. Then in this case, what is happening? If anything is happened to this NTR, this duplicate NTR is also affected. If this duplicate NTR is happening something, then the original NTR is also happening. That means there is no meaning of duplicate copy. There is no much meaning of duplicate copy. you are generating the duplicate copy such a way that those are individual. Let's say if this original NTR is getting the fever, now duplicate NTR is also getting the fever. If duplicate NTR is getting the fever, then original NTR is also getting the fever. Then there is no meaning of duplicate copy here. It's not giving much value. Then that's why cloning concept came. So the cloning is nothing but generating duplicate individual copies. Cloning is nothing but generating duplicate individual copies. That means what? When you are trying to store in the YYY, you are going to say xyxx dot clone, and you are going to keep that results in the Y. You are going to keep that results in the Y. So what does that mean? Initially 2030 is there. So 2030, that means whatever there in the XXX will be available in the YYY when you do the clone. Once that cloning is completed, now if you modify anything here, it will not affect here. If you modify anything here, it will not affect here. That's the advantage of cloning. So therefore, what is the cloning now? Generating duplicate individual copies. Generating duplicate individual copies. Let's say you are cloning the NTR, or if you are cloning the raw security. If you clone the raw security, once cloning is over, if original raw security happens something, duplicate raw security will be there. If something is happened to the duplicate raw security, original raw security will be there. So that means those are individual copies, they never affected each other. So therefore, what is the meaning of cloning? Whenever you are cloning something, what is that meaning? Once while doing the cloning, you will get the exact copy. If raw security is having 5.4 height, the duplicate copy is also getting 5.4 height. If raw security is having XYG color, then duplicate copy also will get XYG color. Once cloning is over, then if duplicate raw security reduces the color, original raw security will not be affected. So that means generating duplicate individual copies is nothing but the cloning. Now, so you can clone objects, you can clone whatever you want. If XXX is view, then it is a view cloning. If XXX is controller, then it's a controller cloning. If XXX is object, then it is an object cloning. If XXX is a class, then it is a class cloning, or whatever it may be. Now coming here, you can clone the views. So we have views. If you want to clone them, you can clone them, but it's not going to be much advantage. But just remember the conclusion side. So view cloning is possible. So what is the meaning of cloning? So generating duplicate individual copies is nothing but the cloning. Then what is the meaning of unique IDs? That's what I am trying to say. Just now we have seen whenever you create the button, you will be one unique ID is created. Whenever you create a page, one unique ID will be created. If you are giving the ID, that's fine. Your ID will be taken. If you are not giving the ID, what happens? So in the buttons case, if you are not giving the ID, what is the button ID generated by default? Anyone able to recollect? Because I already answered that. See, whatever we discussed till now, we are just extending in terms of theory. Say, I am creating a button. If I am creating a button, while creation of the button, assume that I am not giving the ID. If you give the ID, your ID will be taken. If you are not giving the ID, by default, the compiler or the browser is going to generate a ID. How that ID looks? I already answered this one. Anyone able to recollect? Yeah, underscore, it's not default. No, it's not default. Underscore button underscore 0 something. Underscore button 0, underscore button 1, like that. Yes, that's correct. Okay, that's correct. So that is how the button IDs are going to be generated. So that's what it is saying. Static IDs. Static IDs means you are giving the ID. If you are not giving the ID, then the browser is going to generate the ID. That's nothing but dynamic. That means at runtime the ID is going to be generated. So if you want to get the ID, we have a method called by ID. We already seen many times. SAP.core.getID, SAP.UI.core.getID, all these things. So therefore those are about the IDs. Now let's come into the fragments. Okay, so we already studied about the fragments. Let me go bit speed because we are spending good amount of time here. So we already studied about the fragments. When did we cover the fragments? When did we cover the fragments?
2 days back.
Fine. Which example? So more than one example I covered. Which example? At least you can tell me.
When we are discussing on usability.
So in the best practices applications, we have seen the fragments. So we have created 2 fragments in the best practices. That's nothing but supplier fragment and the categories fragment. And we have seen in another place also. Therefore, now coming here, how do you instantiate them, or how many types of fragments are there? There are 3 types of fragments: XML fragments, JavaScript fragments, and HTML fragments. There are 3 types of fragments. Now, I just written high level of code so that if anyone is asking something, then you need to be able to answer. Okay. So now, how do you create JavaScript fragments? If you want to create the JavaScript fragment, first you need to define it. So how do you define? So SAPUI.JavaScript fragment. Then give the fragment name. Then give the fragment name. Then you can write whatever you want to create content and all. And the JavaScript fragment we already seen. We have seen example for the JavaScript fragment and the XML fragment. Both are covered. XML fragment we have seen in the best practices case, and JavaScript programming or JavaScript fragment we have seen separately. I mean, by taking one example. So therefore, if you want to work with the frame sets, or if you want to work with the frame fragment, and if you want to work with the JavaScript fragment, first define it. How do you define? So SAP.UI.JavaScript or JS fragment. You will define something. Once you define, you are going to instantiate it. See, this is nothing but defining. So once you define, you are going to instantiate it. How do you instantiate? SAP.UI.JS fragment. Then you are going to give blah 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 and this. What is the meaning of this? This always refers the current object, whatever may be the programming language. Whenever you are using this, means it is a current object. So that means if I am saying this, means this particular JavaScript fragment is instantiated from current controller. You can also give the ID. That's what I'm trying to say. Whenever you instantiate, you can give the ID, or you no need to give the ID. If you are not giving the ID, default IDs will be generated. If you are giving the ID, then your ID will be assigned. So this is nothing but static ID. Okay. So therefore, you will be defining it. You will be instantiating it. Once you will instantiate, it is available to use. So if you look at here, this particular fragment is going to help you to give the buttons. And you want to use that fragment. If you want to use the fragment, go to the view and write the logic to use that. How do I use? So if you look at here, this is giving the button. So therefore, SAP.UI.JS fragment, then give the fragment name, then so the controller. So which controller you are trying to use that controller, and this is going to give the button, all these things. We already seen. So on high level, what do you need to remember? If you want to instantiate the fragments, JS fragments, you have 3 steps. You need to define it, you need to instance it, you need to use it. To define, what are you going to use? SAP.UI.fragment, JS fragment. For instantiating also same, but only thing is that you need to specify these steps. That's about the instantiating JS fragments. Now, instantiating the XML fragments. So XML fragments we already seen in case of best practices. So first you need to define it. How do you define? Let's say you want to create a button, blah blah blah. Am I there? Are you able to hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Because there is a power cut. I'm just thinking whether it is immediately connected or not. Okay, fine. Where is the minimization? Okay. Now let's come back where we are. Yeah. So programmatically creating the XML fragments. First you need to define it. If you want to define it, button something and all. Once you define it, you can instantiate. How do you instantiate? So SAP.UI.XML fragment. There it is a JS fragment, it is a XML fragment here. That's it. Now, even though you create XML fragment, if you want to use in the JS views, you can use it. That means what? Let's say you are creating XML fragment and you have, instead of XML view, you have a JSON JavaScript view. Still you can use it. Same procedure. That's the conclusion. Then programmatically instantiating the HTML fragments. So first you need to define it, you need to instantiate it. So if you want to instantiate if you want to define div data -SAP -UI types. What is the type you are trying to create? HTML. Once you press, you need to execute, do something. And you need to instantiate it. If you want to instantiate it, what you are going to use? SAP.UI.HTML fragment. So while instantiating, the methods are going to be different. In case of JavaScript, it is a SAP.UI.JS fragment. In case of XML, SAP.UI.XML fragment. In case of XML, SAP.UI.XML fragment. That's about this one. The next thing is that instantiating fragments in a declarative views. Instantiating fragments in declarative views. That means you have a view here. You have a view here, and you want to instantiate programmatically. So that's what we have seen. If you want to instantiate them in the XML view, you can instantiate using ID, without ID. So if you want to instantiate, if you look at here, this logic we are writing in the controller. Please try to understand. Here also we are instantiating, right? But you are trying to instantiate from the controller. If you are trying to instantiate from the controller, you have something called SAP.UI.HTML fragment. But I don't want to instantiate. That means in the previous explanation, I am trying to instantiate my controller, my fragment from the controller. Now, if I want to instantiate from the controller, let's say I want to instantiate XML view, XML fragment, I'm going to use what? SAP.UI.XML fragment. I don't want to instantiate from here. I want to instantiate from the XML view. If you want to instantiate from XML view, and these are the logics, or this is a piece of code, it's nothing. You are going to use core fragment. You are going to use core fragment, then fragment name, then specify the type. If it is XML fragment, then specify XML. If it is a HTML fragment, then specify HTML. If it is a JavaScript fragment, then specify the JavaScript fragment. Our type is JS. And you can give ID, or you don't need to give the ID. If you are not giving the ID, the runtime is going to give some default ID. So therefore, we have seen the scenarios how to instantiate a fragment from the view, how to instantiate a fragment from the controller. Both methods are covered. Okay, so these logics, whenever you want, you can use it. Now, inline definition. See, there are three ways now. First one is you have a fragment. What is a fragment? A reusable piece of code. Then you can instantiate from the controller, you can instantiate from the view, you can instantiate inline. What is the meaning of inline? Same place. Let's say you are creating a fragment here. You are creating a fragment here, and you want to instantiate here itself. That's nothing but inline instantiation. You created a fragment here. Let's say fragment is XXX, and you would like to instantiate that one here itself. Instantiate XXS. This is nothing but what inline. Previously, what is happening? You have written fragment in a separate file, and you have seen how to instantiate from the controller, how to instantiate from the view. Now you are not doing this one. You want to use, or you want to create a fragment and use it there itself. That's nothing but inline instantiation. But generally, that third method will not be used. But for understanding purpose, I am just saying. So define the fragment. How do you define? If it is HTML, this is the syntax. SAP.data-SAP-UI-type, then button, and you can instantiate immediately. So how do you instantiate? SAP.UI.HTML fragment. So there itself, you are defining there and you are instantiating there. You are not instantiating in the controller or view. Okay, now on overall, just recollect this theory. So we have three types of fragments: XML, HTML, and JavaScript. You can instantiate them from the controller, from the view, and also inline. Blah blah blah. That's it. Next thing is that dialogues. We already see, we did not see this one. I would like to cover this one. Previously, what is happening? We created an XML view or XML fragment. So that XML fragment results is rendered within the detail page, right? I don't want within the detail page. I want the fragment results as a pop-up. 1 second, please. So the fragment results I want as a dialog box. We already seen dialog boxes. Model dialog box, model less. What is a model dialog box? Model true. We said when I say model dialog box true, what is the behavior we are going to get? What is the behavior we are going to get?
We cannot perform any action in backend screen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's correct. So therefore, now next point is what I'm trying to say. I want to create a fragment, that means reusable code, but I want to get that reusable code as a dialog box result. You look at here, dialog is from the XML fragment. That means I would like to create a fragment which will, what is the result of the fragment? It is going to come as a dialog box. It is going to come as a dialog box. Let me run that program, you can see. Let me run that program. But I have interviewed more than 20 members for the UI5. No one said, okay, yeah, there is a resource servlet, there is something. At least I have seen that, okay, people did not, I mean, most of the people did not open this. And most of the people are not answering even what is UT8. This one. What is that? UT of 8. Everyone saying, oh, those are all coming default. Those are all coming default. That's fine. So at least that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, whatever it may be. Let's come back. Go to the jQuery, not jQuery, dialog box, right? XML dialog. Look at here. I'm running this exercise. Let me run this program. So basically, I would like to create a XML fragment. That XML fragment will come as a pop-up. That's it. That XML fragment will come as a pop-up. That's it. Look at here. I'm running the program. When I run the program, I get a button. So I get a button. Once I click on the button, I'm getting a pop-up. I'm getting a pop-up. Model pop-up or model dialog. This is coming from the XML fragment. So you can close it. You can come back. You can close it and you can come back. So let's see the code. It is simple, straightforward. Look at this one. So what do you do? How do you create the XML fragment? Go File, New. You are going to create a file and give the file name. And remember that whenever you create the fragment, don't forget to use fragment. If it is a XML fragment. If it is a HTML, something like that. So right now I am creating a XML fragment. So therefore, the name is something like this: asterisk dot fragment is mandatory. Then followed by your type. If it is XML, if it is a JSON, and so on, so on. Fine. Now coming to here, what is there in the fragment? If you look at here, fragment definition. These are all basic things, namespace and all. Now, what this fragment should give? Look at here. So this result is coming from there. What this is doing is it displaying some name. And if you look at this is a dialog. So that's why we are taking something called dialog. What is the title? Channa My Dialog. And what is the content inside that? Content inside that is, so this dialog is from XML fragment. That's nothing but the text. Then what else we have? We have a button here. So therefore, so end button. So button. So what is the name we have? Close. Close. And on press, it is closing. Look at here. On press, it is closing. That means I will be having some method implemented in the controller. We'll see whether that method is available or not. That's what the nothing but a fragment. Now I need to reuse that. If you want to reuse it, let's see. From the view, you are instantiating the XML view. Go to the XML view. Now here, this is the XML view. Now here what you are doing? If you look at this one, you have title. So Channa demo fragment. After that you have a button. After that you have a button. What is the button title? Blah blah blah. On press. Look at here. On press. On press, what you are doing? You are opening the dialog. So therefore, on press will be a method available in the controller. Let's see whether it is available or not. Go to the controller. There is a on press. On press. What I am trying to do in the on press, once I click on this, I am trying to open the XML fragment. That's nothing but a dialog. So therefore, so I need to instantiate it. How do I instantiate? I need to instantiate it. I need to instantiate the fragment. So SAP.UI.XML fragment. What is the fragment? Where the fragment is available? Fragment is available in the Channa XML dialog. So specify the path and what is the fragment name? If you look at the fragment name is dialog. So therefore specify dialog. Specify dialog here. That's it. And you need to open it. So therefore open it. Okay, that's it. Now this particular dialog is having close. And if you look at the dialog, if you look at the fragment, on close, there is a method. So on close, what I am doing in the controller? On close, I am saying dialog underscore close. Dialog underscore open opens it. Dialog underscore close it. So that's why if I click on this one, it is closing. That's how you can go. You can use the XML fragments as dialogs. XML fragments as dialogs. Okay, next navigations. We already seen this. Please remember that. So in the mobile case, we have page 1 and we have page 2. How do you navigate from page 1 to page 2? You are using back, you are using nav to, something and all, right? So in the mobile case, you have page 1 and page 2. How do you navigate between the pages? You are using go to page number 1, page number 2, page number 3. In the initial programming languages or initial exercises, we already seen. So for the navigation between the pages, internally there will be something called a hash code. For navigation between the pages, our navigations happen based on the hash code available. Internal hash code available. These hash codes are maintained or maintained by this particular JS file. UI5 uses crossroads.js file. This is a JS file from the framework page used to parse the hash code and manipulate the hash for the pages or for the navigation. Please look at this one. What I am trying to say, in the mobile case, we have seen more than one page, and I am able to navigate from one page to another page. How are we navigating? Internally, for every page, there will be something called a hash-based value. Hash-based value. So it's going to be a 16-digit. It's going to be a 16-digit number or hexadecimal number. So therefore, it will take that numbers and navigate between the pages. And who will handle this? UI5 provides, or UI5 uses crossroads.js file for handling these hashes. It's a framework related one, but you can just visualize on high level how those hashings are handled. You are not going to handle internally. Internally, the framework provides crossroads.js, which takes care of these hashings or navigations. Which take care of navigations using hash. Okay, so navigations are two types. One is browser-based navigation or browser history navigation or deep link. What does that mean? Look at here. What's the meaning of browser history? Let's say I click on back. See, I come back. This is nothing but browser history navigation. This is nothing but browser history navigation. This is nothing but browser history navigation. What happened? Okay, that is nothing but browser history navigation. Okay, so therefore navigations are two types. First one is browser history handling. So that means you can remember browser history. So where I am coming from, and click on back button. So through history it can navigate. The second one is deep links. What is the meaning of deep links? So the second one is deep links or bookmarks. What does it mean? We already seen bookmarks or deep links. When did I explain about this one? When did I explain this one? When did I explain this one? Deep links are bookmarks. I explained already. So the another navigation is, let's say you have something here. Okay, see, what is the navigation to go to the help now? So I just click on the google.com. In the google.com, I am typing SAP UI5 help documentation. Okay, help documentation. I click on this one. This is nothing but the navigation, browser history. Okay, now I click on the, that is reloaded. Okay, so it's loaded. If you look at here, how did I come to here? Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so how did I come to here? To come here, there are three steps. First one is I typed google.com. Second one is I entered SAP UI help document and all. Third one is I click on this one. That's nothing but what? Now if I want to go back, look at here, navigation. Browser history navigation. I can click on here. I'm going back. I'm going back. This one. This is nothing but what? Browser history navigation. The second one is deep link. Directly you can have a link with you and hit it. The second one is deep links or bookmarks. That means you store the resulted URL and you go there directly. That's nothing but the second way. So therefore navigations are two ways. First one is browser history navigation or browser history handling. The second one is bookmarks or deep links. So therefore you remember the URL, final URL, and hit the URL whenever you want. Then you will go to there. Then you will go to there. That's about this one. Then, so look at here. There are some rules for the navigation. Whenever you are navigating between the pages, there are some rules. Look at here. Whenever you are navigating between the pages, there are some rules. What is the first rule? You can always navigate to previous page and back page. Look at here. In the previous example, look at this one, please. Or let me type it. Just remember this. Yeah, now it's fine. Or let me say, okay, let me open the browser freshly. Try to understand what the first rule is. First rule is something. Now I open the browser. I type google.com. I got some results. Now I am typing gmail.com. I got some results. Okay. Now I am typing, let's say, ICICIbank.com. I got some results. Okay, I got some results. That's fine. Now, what are the different sites what are the different pages? First one is Google, second one is Gmail, third one is ICICI. Can I go to the Gmail? No, you cannot go back. You can go to only one step ahead or one step before. One step before is nothing but Gmail. Then you can, if you want to go now, you can go to ICICI, you can go to Gmail. You can go to ICICI, you can go to Gmail. That's what they are trying to say now. User can navigate back to previous page. So he cannot go 2 steps before, 3 steps before and all. Okay. So now the second point is each full page, it will have like back chain operation. That means that's nothing but a browser history. That means for each page there is a browser history. Next, most of the pages can be bookmarked. So that means you will be having URL, you can click on that one directly. The next point is dialogues. Just now we have dialog box, right? Can you bookmark it? In the previous exercise, we have a bookmark, or sorry, dialog. Can you bookmark the dialog? That means you can you go to that directly? Can anyone say yes or no? No. So no. Therefore, dialog box cannot be bookmarked. You cannot go there. You have to click on the button, then only you need to go. You cannot bookmark it, you cannot do it. So therefore, dialogues, popovers cannot be bookmarked. Then, so what are the configurations for the navigations? So we have 3 types of configurations for the navigations: routers, configuration, owner. We already seen in the best practices. Just try to spend time here and read it. Then, what are the methods to navigate the pages? So to navigate the pages, we have 3 methods: nav to, attach router match, and 4 methods: attach router route, pattern match, and create view or view created. So that means so nav to we already used. How to navigate between one page to another page. What are the parameters it is going to take? It is going to take the name parameter, replace something at all. So nav to page 2. So that means it will go to the page 2. The same way, whenever view created, you can navigate. View created. And there are 2 more methods: attach router match, attach route, pattern match. I don't know when these will be used. Generally, we will use nav to and view created. If you get some time, please spend on those 2 also. This we already seen. So this particular method, what? Whenever view created. So that means what? You are instantiating the view. Look at here. You are instantiating the view. Whenever you are instantiating the view, view is going to be created. That time, if you want to go to a particular page, then you can use this method. So that's all for today. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. We'll see working with the controllers, all these things. Yeah, there is a lot to explain. We'll continue tomorrow. Actually, I have a meeting, so I need to go early. So that's what I'm trying to say. By Sunday, whatever may be, I don't know how many hours I need to spend for Saturday and Sunday, but I have to complete all these things by Sunday. We need to say bye-bye to UI5. That does not mean that, okay, we are going to end. No. Fiori again uses UI5. But let's focus on the next few days from Monday on the Fiori front, so that we should be able to handle everything. That's what I'm trying to say. So we can learn this subject for years and years. If you say I have learned UI5 for 1 year, after 1 year there will be so many folks in the market, you will not have demand. So everything there should be end. So therefore, let's finish up the steps on the time. That does not mean that, okay, we are missing anything. That's what I shown you the proof also in the previous class. I'm covering everything. We are not missing even single point. In terms of theory, in terms of programmatic, everything is covered. Only thing is that now you need to spend the time. Anything else? That's all from today. Thank you. Bye.